So this video is split up in a few sections. One is how to project regality and that royal essence through your mentality, how to radiate it outward, which will affect your body language and the way you speak and the way you behave. After that, we're going to talk about the fashion, how to dress in a way, even if you're low income, to project that. And then we're going to talk about your behavior. What are some of the things that you could do in terms of actions to inspire that type of aura? All right. This is actually a very in-depth video. Watch it, because if you do this, I can promise you, you're going to give off a vibe that says that you're destined for greatness. All right, people. Today's video is a very interesting video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, or else I'm closing it. And subscribe to the channel, because a lot of you guys are subscribed and are not watching it. Look, this video is something that it's pretty much how to get the princess treatment, but it's not about gold digging. All right. It's more about how to project an aura where people see you as a regal person, where people see you as a classy individual who deserves respect. This is the type of video that will show you how to give off that vibe of a queen, not an arrogant queen, but wherein you see a woman and you say there's something regal, respectful, dignified about this person. This inspires people to treat you like a queen, dignified. The perfect person who is an example of this is Oprah Winfrey, in my opinion, right? Now, motherfuckers, don't disrespect that woman, okay? The reason why I say Oprah is because she had, or even Beyonce, right? She has the queen aura. She has that regality. They don't have no ghetto, no hood, no arrogance about them, no evilness doesn't come out of them. What comes out from them is pure regality, pure self-respect, pure honor. And that causes people to want to respect them, to give them the princess, the queen treatment. And if you're an older woman, what you'll notice is that men will respect you. Men will tread very lightly with you, right? And even not just an older woman. If you're younger, older women, guys will give out money to you. Like they'll give shit to you, man, without even asking them. So we're gonna talk about that in this video. This is something that you guys can learn, and this is why keeping it real is not a good strategy. All right, so let's begin with this video. Don't forget, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, click on the description down below where it says work with me one-on-one. Purchase my coaching packages, purchase my online courses. I'm going to talk about it later on in the video. And don't forget, we're having a meditation walk next weekend. We're having a legit meditation walk. It's going to be 59 degrees on Sunday, so we're going to be doing a walk around Central Park. Click on the description down below to get more information. It's going to be for free, by the way, purely for free. But join our WhatsApp group to join that meditation group, okay? All right, let's begin with the video. First things first. The way you carry yourself is how you're pretty much going to get treated in life. Appearing like you're hood, ghetto, or even in the or like what people consider white trash, or just a hood look to you. Like walking around with a do-rag, with your pants down, trying to keep it real, like you're from your hood. Don't get me wrong, all of that is fine. But my God, there are just too many negative associations in the media that comes with that. If it wasn't for those negative associations, I wouldn't mind, but that's just the reality of it. That inspires disrespect, that inspires skepticism. Anything associated with violence, anything associated with lower class, unfortunately, if it's race related, this also applies, people. This also applies. It's like somebody who has a frizzy, ugly looking afro trying to get a job in the stereotypical white world, right? You're not. Why? Because the associations with that look. Like when Snoop Dogg was in prison, when Snoop Dogg was getting trialed, a lot of kids wanted to wear cornrows. But then their parents are like, motherfucker, you better take away those cornrows, because the most famous person who has cornrows is going to prison for murder, and I don't want people associating you with those types of associations. So you got to make sure that your look is associated with something culturally positive. I'm not saying that that thing is legit negative. I'm just saying in the scope of our culture, unfortunately, some looks, whether or not it's racist, some looks are considered bad. And you just have to bend with those rules temporarily, at least in that culture. So, for example, let's just say you have an escort or a prostitute, right? And she dresses like an escort, wherein looks sad, shriveled, walks around with her body language like that, and missing a tooth, right? What would you associate with her? You're gonna think of her as lower class, and expect to pay her less. What happens if you have the same escort, but now she's dressed classy? She looks like a college girl, doesn't have fucked up teeth, as an example. All of a sudden, just because of the way that she carries herself, she's gonna demand more, and you're gonna give more. Why? Because simply the way that you look, the way that you dress, if you dress like a common person, people will treat you like a common person. If you dress hood and just trashy, unfortunately, people are going to treat you like that. But if you dress classy, a perfect example is Apollina from The Godfather, right? Look at the way she dressed. She didn't dress flashy, but she dressed in a classy way. And it merited Michael Corleone to treat her in a classy and dignified way. I suppose that if she dressed like an escort, maybe he would have treated her differently. So but also, it's not just dressing regally, which I'm going to show you how to do it, but also acting regally and confident. I would say this: rather than acting confident, try to act like you're regal. Try to act like you're somebody who's royal, not royal in terms of arrogance. Just imagine yourself, you're somebody who is a king. How would the king behave without the arrogance? It'll be a regality, where if somebody talks to you, you don't just respond like that. What would a king do? The Lexus. Somebody's calling me. The Lexus. So, for example, somebody says, "King, should I kill him?" The king doesn't say, "Yes." A king says, You learn to behave in a regal way. A perfect example of that regality is The Godfather, or Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada. She inspires fear through her regality. She inspires respect through her regality. So if you're gonna be talking like this, all ghetto, hey motherfucker, man, hey man, ain't no people, man, listen to what I'm saying. What the hell do you think people are gonna associate you with? We gotta learn to talk, and I'm your example, people, right? Look at the way I used to make videos. Look at the way I make them now. I learned from that. Regality and classiness matters, as superficial as it sounds. It is within your powers to set your own price as well. Carry yourself with nobility and dignity, and they will treat you as such. So a big part of regality is learning to ask for a lot. That means you demand a lot of respect. And when you go to a job or a negotiation, you demand a lot. For example, many years ago, I coach clients in many industries. And one of the most important things that clients, for example, like my rich clients, they tell me that they respect people who they work with. They respect those not only who have regality, but those who ask for a lot. They say that whenever they encounter someone whose price is high, they automatically associate them with higher class. So that means you got to learn to ask for a lot, right? And if you ask for a little in life, that means if you have a sugar daddy, demand a lot from the sugar daddy. That means if you have a man, demand a lot from him, right? And I'm not talking about unrealistic standards. I'm talking about by you just demanding a lot and being flexible with lowering those demands. By just your demand, even though he rejects her, even though she rejects it, just your demand raises people's respect for you. For example, Michael Corleone made an offer to one guy, and he was like, "I want this much for your company." And the guy was like, "I'm not gonna give you that. I'm not gonna give you shit. You're Michael Corleone. your family's ruined. And you know what Michael said afterwards? He didn't bargain with him. He was like, okay, I'm gonna offer you something. My offer is nothing now. I'm not gonna. And in fact, I ask of you, as I will expect of you, to cover the fees as a favor to me. But my request is nothing. That type of stuff makes people respect you, even though they're gonna say no to you. People respect that type of like confidence. So why are people so afraid to ask for a lot? One, when we grew up as children, we experienced rebuttals, rebuffs, resistance, and failure. This sets up mental boundaries that only get firmer over time. We begin to expect less from people and accept those limitations. This is from Robert Greene's book, really good. To deal with this, we must downplay our past failures, almost like a mental gymnastics. Ignore our limitations and make demands from ourselves, most importantly. For example, with me, this is to me the most important thing that I've ever done in my life. I demanded a lot from myself. It's not just you acting regal for other people's sake. It's you also acting regal for your own sake. Demand a lot for yourself. Have some self-respect. Have some self-dignity. Respect yourself even when nobody's watching you. Even when nobody's watching you. For example, like a perfect example is like even your mannerisms when you eat. Eat like you're a royal. Sit up straight. Even when nobody's watching you. Eat the right way. Even when nobody's watching you. Have respect for your own self, even in private. This will radiate outward. Your whole body language, your whole facial expression will contort to this reality you're creating in your own mind. This is pretty much a cause and effect type of phenomenon, right? Sorry, people. This is pretty much a cause and effect type of phenomenon. If we believe we're destined for greatness, it'll radiate outward. If you believe you are destined to be treated like a queen, to be treated like a king, to get respect from men and women, if you believe that deep down, it'll radiate outward and people will treat you as such. It pretty much comes down to that. And the way that you know you deserve it is how you act in private. If you convince yourself, that means that if you're poor, you try your best to look as dignified as possible. People will respect you. That if you have a little space and it's like, you're not that rich, make an effort to make it look as pretty as possible. Dress the best that you could dress, as dignified as you could dress as possible. People will sense the respect that you have for yourself. And naturally, because you respect yourself in such a high regard, anytime somebody disrespects you, you're not going to take it because you say, if I don't let myself treat myself that way, motherfucker, you're not going to treat me that way. Respect your own time. Value your time. Don't waste it. So that when somebody tries to waste it, you don't feel needy. You actually get aggressive and almost act appalled that somebody could disrespect your time. You learn to develop not arrogance, but almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you believe that you're destined for greatness. It'll radiate outward. If you believe you are destined for greatness, people will believe it. It's not arrogance. You develop this dignity, this sense of calmness and regality. Never letting people see you get angry. Never letting people see you get agitated. Always being aware that people are watching how you behave. And you trying your best to have a regal stance. You put your chest outward. You stand up straight. You walk more slower. You keep your head high. You move around slower. You have an economy of motion, an economy of words, an economy of friends. You learn to develop this regality over time. So, we're going to talk about other strategies to radiate it outward. But Now we're going to have a quick intermission. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't purchased any of my courses, we have a special bundle deal for everyone. So that you can purchase all of my courses, meaning you could purchase the psychological game of attraction, natural chemistry, and nice girl, along with all of the bonuses. Originally, if you purchase everything without the bundle, it'll be around $500, to be honest with you. But right now, if you guys purchase it with the bundle, you guys will be able to get all of these courses: psychological game of attraction, which is for women who are single; natural chemistry, which is for women who are in a relationship; nice girl, which is a course on assertiveness, along with all of the bonuses: social mastery, practical mastery in terms of how to master anything, social mastery in terms of how to master your social skills, and the laws of human nature, wherein it's part of the Robert Greene book club I used to have. All of these, naturally, like I said, it's $500. Now you get it at $394, which is essentially 20% off everything. It's all of the work that I put in the last 4 years, in the last 5 years, actually, all of the research that I've done. And this course, rather than watching all of my videos, and because they could be random and you could sort of like lose the big picture because there's just so many videos, you guys get all of the content condensed in a course. Trust me, people, if you guys purchase this, you won't regret it. If you haven't purchased it, hopefully this will push you towards it, because it's something that I believe in, and everyone who's purchased my course have been satisfied with it. And if they didn't like it, I always give their money back. I have never rejected a refund. All right. So purchase it right now. Click on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle, and I'll see you guys inside. So let's talk about how to, now that we have the mental game, let's talk about how to do it physically. Well, for one, you make bold demands, right? You ask for a lot. It's that simple, right? Anytime I see a freelancer, like who is a web developer or anything like that, and they demand a lot of money, you naturally have more respect for them. Anytime somebody doesn't demand that much money, you naturally have you lessen your respect for them. It is that simple. Demand a lot, right? Demand the best job. Demand the most pay. Demand the most respect from people and yourself. And like a self-fulfilling prophecy, it'll happen. How do you do that? You begin to visualize it. Use the law of attraction. Visualize you demanding a lot. Visualize people giving you a lot. Visualize you you without fear asking for the world. Visualize you getting it. Over time, the more you visualize it, the more your brain will assume that those were actual successes, and it'll prime you to start behaving that way, and your brain will make it happen. You don't have to trust in yourself. Don't trust in yourself. You could do some stupid shit. Trust in this machine that was finely tuned for over the last millions of years of evolution. Your brain is finely tuned to set and achieve goals. You don't have to believe in yourself. At least believe in your ancestors that live in your brain. Believe in it, that if you visualize something, it'll happen. I can promise you, the sense of you feeling like you're destined for greatness will radiate outward. It's that simple. And people will begin to treat you and give you privileges that you just never expected, simply because of your attitude. The next one is have symbols that represents your regality. Have symbols, right? The first step to using symbols is to understand the primacy of sight amongst all of the other senses. Never neglect how you arrange things visually, such as colors and the fragrances and furniture that you have around you. And even the fonts and colors of the words that you use when typing, when sending messages, or even your Instagram. And the colors and ambience of the environment, because the visual contains great emotional power over people. So that means, for example, right, I'm a spiritual person. I've always been a spiritual person. But anytime you saw me in the streets a few years ago, you thought I was a bum. In fact, I had a client go in Mexico who saw me in the streets just sitting down eating a taco. She thought I was homeless. And she was about to give me money. And then she said, "Oh my God, it's Father Alex." I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Bitch, you better put that money back in your pocket. Don't be giving me that money." I couldn't believe it. And that's when I was like, you know what, man? This stops it. Hey, I'm clearly giving off the bummy vibe. Why? Because I had the wrong. I thought that people could see who I really am from just me. No. If you look like a bum, you're gonna be treated like a bum, and people can assume you're a bum. And over time, when they get to talk to you, yeah, maybe they'll realize there's something more to you. But why would you give them that first impression? So then I was like, okay, who am I? I'm naturally a spiritual person. I'm naturally somebody who meditates. I'm naturally somebody who's calm. I'm naturally somebody who's empathetic. Am I giving off that vibe? I wasn't. I was giving the opposite vibes, ironically. So then I was like, okay, what are some symbols? What are some things about me that are me that I could just incorporate in the way that I dress that will communicate that? Put some of this, and this is how I used to dress, but all I did, I just put more crystals. I like green, and it emanates calmness, and boom. Now people think I'm spiritual. I'm like, I've always been like this. People are like, oh my God, the Lexus. I don't know why, but you give off a very calm vibe now. That's crazy. I've always been like this. You're just reacting to my clothes. You're just reacting to the little adornments. That's how easy we are to manipulate. So if you want to be treated like a king, like a queen, you got to make sure that what you dress is the person who you want them to see. So that means if you want them to see you as a business person, dress like a business person. As a spiritual person, dress like a spiritual person. As a queen, as a king, dress like a king and a queen. And find what are those status symbols. And that comes down to brands, to clothing. Maybe you don't have all the best brands, but maybe you get knockoffs that look like it. It's the appearances that matter. That's why rappers get fake jewelry. They don't want to waste the money, but they'll wear something that's of lower price, but that give off that right impression. Why do they wear the jewelry? Because we're visual creatures. And when people see the jewelry that's associated with high status, people will treat you as such. It's just that simple, people. You guys it sounds superficial, and I'm the last person to make a video like this, but it is true. And that also means your background, what you wear. For example, if you see my room and I have a bunch of freaking paintings of Satan, you're not gonna trust me. You're not gonna trust me. If you come to my apartment and you see, honest, and by the way, I don't mind Trump supporters. I don't mind Obama supporters. I don't mind any of that. I'm not a political person. But if you're somebody who's in New York City and you have a bunch of Trump posters, people are going to assume that you're a Trump supporter, and then what happens with that? It comes with a lot of negative associations. So what do you do as an example? And if you were that person, I would tell you, motherfucker, put that down and put up some Obama posters. Put up some Joe Biden posters so that they don't associate you that way. All of a sudden, they're going to associate positive things just because of the fucking paint photos that you have in your apartment. Just for that. And now I'm looking at this and I'm like, what kind of photos do I have in my apartment? This is not good, people. What do we see here? Apparently here we have a bunch of criminals. We have Al Capone, Mick Jagger, people who did a lot of drugs, you know? And yeah, well, this is getting behind the scene, but you guys can tell the vibe from my apartment, right? Artistic, right? Why? Because that's how I am. So I put effort to have as many symbols, as many calling cards to tell people how I am, right? And a lot of people neglect that. All right. Now, we have the symbols part, right? So what you want to do is, what you do is find an image or symbol that represents what you want people to say about you. You could even combine different images with current images and create a new symbol from it, right? For example, people look at me and they see Jimi Hendrix and Mick Jagger, but also with a little bit of Russell Brand. Those combinations create this aura. Almost like combining different tastes, right? A lot of women nowadays they have the Kim Kardashian archetype. And just look at all the girls that all of these NBA players are banging. They all look like Kim Kardashians. So what do? To be treated like a queen, they put the surgery, the butt lift, the boob jobs, the nail, all of that shit to create that image. And all of a sudden, they have fucking NBA players hitting them up because they fit the thought archetype. And it's okay if you're a thought. I appreciate you. But you have to know how these symbols work, right? You got to find what are the symbols in your culture that have that air of regality. For example, in North Korea, if you're a 300-pound gorilla as a dude, if you're a 300-pound big stomach, you got the whole Kim Jong-un look, you're gonna be attractive, because the look that's attractive is the Kim Jong-un big stomach, big, about to die from a heart attack. If you eat another chicken wing, that type of look is attractive. But they're like, man, look at that. They're like, oh my God, look at that gut. Like, the Korean, North Korean Melissa. Oh my God, look at that gut. He is a nice circle, right? You could even combine by associating those symbols. It communicates your message. Simply use old symbols and reinterpret them. An example are psychics who have crystal balls. Shamans, when you go to ayahuasca retreats, they have the whole shaman look. They could just do that whole ceremony in a t-shirt, but they know the power of symbolism. And you could tell that the shaman with the most stings literally have a more aura of power. Literally. So if all the little shamans have like the little shaman thing, but then one shaman has like a big thing where everyone else has a little shaman thing, all of a sudden that's the most powerful shaman. Something that you could do in daily life. Dress slightly, a little bit more better than everyone else. Look, we all can think back in our lives. Anytime somebody is in a room and they're dressed better than everyone else, if you don't know nothing about that person or the hierarchy, you're going to assume that person is of higher power. It's that simple. It's that simple. And also not just dressing, also with jewelry. I don't have jewelry, but jewelry is also rings, boom, boom. All of these things communicate power. I don't know how to say it in a more simple term. If nobody's wearing a tie, and for example, if everybody's wearing a shirt without a tie, you wear the tie. You always dress slightly above the competition. That doesn't mean it has to be expensive, though. It's better to dress and have an innocent symbols than to say that you are. So, for example, I'm naturally a very nice person. Unfortunately, people thought I was an asshole. So now I work on that. Look at this, right? I wear white. White symbolizes good. White. This whole Asian thing, this is positive Buddha, stuff like that. I'm giving you guys how it works, people. I'm not being deceptive, but these are things that are who I am, and I'm showing you who I am, like me, like the way I'm expressing myself to show you who I am, but I'm also showing you guys static symbols of who I am. And it's your responsibility to make sure you show that to others. Now, let's talk about the behavior part. Like I said, it comes down, imagine how a king will behave. A king does not get angry. A king doesn't have to tell people he's a king or a queen as well. You don't have to tell people your status. It's all about the regality. And it comes down to this: an economy of word and an economy of motion. If you just learn how to say less than necessary and do and learn to move a little slower, speak a little slower, respond a little slower, think more, speak less, listen more, and be the and also even going to parties, arriving late and leaving early, that type of stuff is actually a true thing. It's a real thing. All of these things will inspire people to give you things, to want to win you over, to want to gain your respect as a person. And they'll just give you things just for the sake of giving you things and to be associated with you, because your associations are so positive. And then this also comes down to associating yourself with people that are positive. If you don't have those types of real associations, just talk about them. Me, who do you think I associate myself with? Robert Greene, right? Or just who you talk about a lot, you'll get those types of associations. And that's the secret.